Welcome back. The Woodlawn Conservancy is enhancing its community and investing in the future by preserving the past. To commemorate the 100th anniversary of suffrage and women's equality, Woodlawn has created a self-guided tour of Woodlawn women who made a difference. Joining us now to tell us more is Mitch Rose, President and CEO of the Woodlawn Conservancy. Mitch, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Of course. So just for folks who are not familiar, can you give us a little background about the Woodlawn Conservancy?
Absolutely. So the Conservancy, just like the cemetery, is a nonprofit organization. But the Conservancy was established in 1999. The cemetery goes all the way back to 1863. And the purpose of establishing the Conservancy was to create a opportunity to enhance the cemetery's preservation. And doing so, we create a different relevance to the cemetery in the community, and we build a community of supporters to help build our preservation efforts and conservation efforts at the cemetery. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, if you will, but it also advances specifically educational initiatives, which are part of the 501c3 process, making sure that there's programs, different types of events and things of that nature that promote educational opportunities.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Mitch. How have tours and activities and these types of events changed at the Conservancy due to COVID-19?
It's a great question. Of course, certainly I'm very appreciative of our staff. We've had to work really hard through this situation, like many other businesses. And in the context of tours and activities of the Conservancy, like many institutions, it certainly essentially unplugged many different things that we would have normally done this year. It gave us an opportunity to step back, though, and take a look at what we have in terms of educational opportunities, and then kind of reboot some of the things that we can do. And a lot of it is literally still based on the opportunity of coming to the cemetery. At 400 acres, 17 miles of roads, we've got a lot of space. It's very easy to maintain social distancing in Woodlawn. There's almost no traffic moving through the cemetery whatsoever in terms of vehicular traffic. So movement through the cemetery is something that we facilitate largely through our printed maps that give people a guided opportunity to go through the cemetery, as well as specifically being able to utilize our phone app. And our phone app has about 15 or so different tour information. And that, what I mean by that, of course, is the specific ability to take a kind of a Google Map style phone, direct yourself to a particular interment site of a notable that you want to go pay your respects to. And then additionally, on the app, get some other information, whether it be something we got through a historical source of some nature. I think we have a couple of YouTube links, for instance, things of that context to kind of revitalize what you're learning about. And of course, trees. As you can see, we have a lot of trees. We have about 6,000 plus trees. And naturally, as a level 2 arboretum, and myself having a horticulture degree, we took the time to make sure that the tour of the trees is such that you can learn about the unique species, you can learn about how these trees grow, their overall habitat, maybe even think about something you want to bring to your yard or a tree you've seen somewhere else. And we're proud of the detail that's associated with that because it does help people study and learn.
And I know a couple of our viewers will be a little confused. Is cemetery really, beautiful place to admire nature? I mean, we see right behind you, Mitch, that, so many trees at the Woodlawn Conservancy. It's more than just a cemetery. And this is why folks should definitely visit and learn about these historical figures that are here in the Bronx, that we may not know about. Leads me to my next question. Can you tell us about the Woodlawn Women Who Made a Difference, the self-guided tour, and some of the women we can learn about during this tour?
Yeah, absolutely. So this past August was the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. And of course, at Woodlawn, we're proud to have many of the women who were dedicated in that movement interred at the cemetery. So we feel certainly obligated and honored to recognize them in really unique ways and give folks, young people, especially today, the educational opportunity to learn about some of the challenges that were here 100 years ago that also were injustice and things that are very similar to what's happening today. So that said, it's all about partnerships. In our case, the great-great-granddaughter of Elizabeth Cady Stanton Colleen Jenkins-Solin, is an active participant with us, and she has helped us in this process that ultimately led to the Woodlawn Women Who Made a Difference map. Her, as well as Alelia Bundles, who happens to be a board member on our Conservancy Board of Directors. And she's the great granddaughter of Madam C.J. Walker, America's first female self-made millionaire. And we really enjoy the opportunity to have these people involved with us, because through their support and guidance that we were able to ultimately make what you're describing, this unique experience. And that map and that experience really got a kickoff with a big bang. I know we sent you a little footage. I don't know what footage is not or going to be in here at all, but we had 4 members of the all-female pro skydiving, highlight pro skydiving team jump out of the sky and land in Woodlawn on August 20th to help celebrate, obviously, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, but equally important, bring a big attention to the fact that the same, like I said, the same type of motivated people to challenge social injustice exists today. And they wanted to highlight that. So they couldn't think of a better way to do it than to leap out of a helicopter, 4,000 feet, 4,500 feet up in the air, and then land at Woodlawn. And then obviously we went to the internment sites and laid some wreaths and things of that nature. So it was a really cool event and a neat way to kind of highlight, the notables that are here and create some kind of interest in bringing back history to some extent.
That is amazing. We just shared some of that footage while you spoke. Another thing I wanted to share with our viewers is that Woodlawn Conservancy also celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month by preserving the legacy of notables such as Celia Cruz and Pedro Knight. Please share more about this and which other notables we can learn about at the Woodlawn Conservancy.
Yeah, very important, absolutely. For the last couple of years, in conjunction with the Celia Cruz estate and the Legacy Project, we've held a exhibit in our one of our buildings of the memorabilia of her life, photos, personal photos, dresses, wigs, things of that nature, and an exhibit, a museum exhibit style that people could walk through. And then ultimately, 3 days after the third day of the event, we held a salsa concert, which last year we had about 3,000 people come through the cemetery over the period of those 3 days. Unfortunately, of course, we were unable to do so this year. We anticipate and hope to be able to bring it back next year. But it was a real big opportunity for us to recognize the legacy of Celia Cruz and also honor her fans, because that's what she wanted to do. In fact, she chose Woodlawn because of its accessibility to allow for her fans to come and pay her respects. We have many other notable Spanish-speaking individuals of great experience in their lives. One of them is Admiral David Farragut. He was born of a Spanish-American immigrant, and he's interred here. There's a unique monument, it's like a mast, actually, what it looks like at the cemetery. And that particular gravesite is actually a National Historic Landmark, which is inside of the cemetery, which is a National Historic Landmark. So we have a National Historic Landmark inside of our National Historic Landmark, and it's none other than Admiral David Farragut. And when you study his life, it's pretty fascinating, the impact he had. It's so impactful. As a matter of fact, I think it was 4 or 5 years, I guess it was 2016, we actually had the crew from the Farragut come on one of our flagging events. Annually, we flag, for Memorial Day, we flag, thousands of internment sites at the cemetery of our nation's veterans who are buried here. And we celebrated that particular year with the crew of the Farragut in front of the Farragut Monument, which was actually pretty cool.
Sounds amazing. And although things will look a little different this year because of COVID-19, there's still an opportunity for you to visit Woodlawn Conservancy and, participate in some of these self-guided tours. So please check them out at thewoodlawncemetery.org. Mitch, I also wanted to ask, Woodlawn's Preservation Training Program offers career and workforce development for students in our community. Can you tell us more about Woodlawn's Bridge to Crafts careers and educational opportunities for Bronx youth and the landscaping and horticultural program? Who qualifies and how can they sign up for this?
Absolutely. So for about 6 years now, we've been running the Bridge to Crafts program with our great partners. It's a combination of classroom training and hands-on training. And you might immediately say, well, how would that work at a cemetery? Well, for starters, it works because we have just about every kind of granite, limestone, and rock you could imagine here. It's called monuments and mausoleums. So we have the laboratory, if you will, of the stone types that is actually the foundation for young men and women to learn a career in masonry preservation. And we have a retired bricklayers union, we call them a resident craftsman, who leads that program. And throughout the course of the 10 weeks, takes about 18 to 20 young men and women. They all have to be of the borough. They have to be from the boroughs, sorry, one of the boroughs, 18 to 24 of age, and have a high school diploma or its equivalent. Those factors allow them to get interviewed and take some exams, an exam rather, and if they get selected, they enter this program, this hands-on program, as well as a classroom program. It's been going on, like I said, now to the point where we've almost graduated 100 people over these 6 years, roughly 15 to 20 every year. We're really proud to say that this year, given the COVID, and I know you asked about activities and how COVID impacted, it absolutely had an impact on this particular training program because literally it was underway when COVID hit. But once again, thanks to the partners and our staff, we were able to come up with a kind of a Zoom meeting set up like what we're doing right now, where we could do a lot of the program training virtually. And we graduated a smaller group than we had hoped. It ended up being 12. But that said, those 12 graduates went through the program and have done so in a really uniquely challenging manner given the circumstances. The landscape program is new. It's also underway. Now it's been about 2 or 3 weeks. And the landscape program, we actually had to, I think there's 15 or 18 in that program, but we really made the classes very small. A small number of students come at any given time. That way we're able to practice all the social distancing that's necessary. And we've been able to make that happen. And interestingly enough, it's a really excited group, but we're really happy with our partners. I can't say enough about World Monuments Fund. I can't say enough about the DOOR, the social service agency dedicated to getting young men and women jobs. They are just a fantastic partner with us. And of course, they're the ones this year who funded the program under the Advance and Earn initiative, which came out of the city, the community development organization in the city, pushed forth an effort to find, well, where are the jobs going? Construction is one of the jobs. There are a lot of jobs in construction. So we are serving as an opportunity to train young men and women in that field, landscaping, masonry preservation, et cetera. So this year is a hallmark. We're gonna push over 100 through it at the end of this year, and we're excited to say that program just keeps growing.
An incredible opportunity at Woodlawn Conservancy. Is there still time for people to apply for this program, Mitch, or are the slots already filled? Is it closed, the application process?
This particular one is closed. It's going to end, I think, around January or so. However, they should absolutely come to our website probably around February or March. We'll start announcing the new cohort for the masonry program. So it kind of depends on what you're interested in. If you want to go into masonry and restoration, about 30% or so of that group, by the way, that graduates goes into the local union, the masonry union. So we're really proud of that fact. But the landscapers themselves have a different track, whether they go private or public or union sector. All of them can go a variety of ways. But that program will be launching in March, I guess, of next year, the masonry. And then we anticipate fully to do the landscape program again next year as well.
Got it. Thank you so much, Mitch. Before we go, please invite our viewers to the Woodlawn Conservancy.
Absolutely. I wish to invite everyone to come join us in this time where so many of us are stuck at home, are doing virtual interviews like this one rather than actually being face-to-face. I think it's certainly easy to say it's a little tough. Come to the cemetery. We have a beautiful, serene setting. We have some magnificent architecture, some beautiful trees, and a lot of peace and quiet where hopefully you can collect your thoughts and remember, despite the fact that there's so many difficult things going on right now, it's equally important to remind ourselves of those things that are still good and that we can still appreciate and enjoy.
Thank you again, Mitch, for your time today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it and have a wonderful afternoon.
You as well. Folks, again, before we go, Woodlawn Conservancy is located at 3800 Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. Visitation hours are 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. every day. You can visit the woodlawncemetery.org for more information and to see some of the amazing tours that they have there. You can also follow them on all social media at Woodlawn Conservancy. We'll be right back.